I have been going over every single detail of what is about to unfold next week in BTG. And the more I think about it, the more I feel like everything is slowly tightening into a storm that none of them are ready to face. And honestly, I cannot shake the feeling that Haley is standing right at the center of it all, surrounded by secrets that are beginning to crack under pressure. And this time, there may not be a way out for her. What fascinates me the most is how the situation between Haley and Lynette is no longer just a quiet manipulation happening behind closed doors. It has escalated into something far more dangerous. Lynette is not just threatening anymore. She is actively draining Haley, pulling money out of her piece by piece. And I can almost imagine the tension in every scene where they face each other. Haley trying to maintain control, trying to pretend she is still the one holding power. But deep down, she knows she is trapped. Because when someone like Lynette holds your past over your head, there is no easy escape. And I keep asking myself, will Haley finally push back? Will she find a way to end this blackmail once and for all? Or will she sink deeper into it, sacrificing more just to keep her secrets buried? Because right now, it feels like she is choosing survival over dignity. And that choice always comes with consequences. At the same time, Haley is not just defending herself. She is going on the offensive. And that is where things become even more interesting. Because her decision to accuse Tomas in front of Bill feels less like truth and more like strategy. She is trying to destroy his credibility before he gets too close to exposing her. And I can see exactly why she would do that. Tomas is watching her. He is connecting dots. And she knows it. There is something almost desperate in the way she targets Tomas, bringing up his supposed infidelity with Kat. It is not just about damaging his relationship. It is about making him look unreliable, unstable, someone whose words cannot be trusted. And if Bill starts to believe that, then anything Tomas says about Haley will be dismissed. And that gives her time. But the problem is Tomas is not backing down. And that is where the tension truly builds. Because he has already started to suspect that something is wrong. And more importantly, he has shared his concerns with Kat, which means this is no longer just his investigation. It is spreading. And once more people become involved, secrets become harder to contain. I keep thinking about that moment when Tomas confides in Kat. It feels like a turning point because now the investigation is not just internal. It has emotional weight. Kat is not just hearing information. She is reacting to it. And depending on how she processes what Tomas tells her, she could either support him or unintentionally expose him. And both possibilities are dangerous. And all of this loops back to Haley. Because the more Tomas digs, the closer he gets to the truth about her connection with Lynette. And that is exactly what she fears the most. Not just being exposed, but losing control over the narrative she has been carefully constructing. Meanwhile, the situation with Anita brings a completely different emotional layer to the week. Because just when rumors started to spread about her possibly leaving the show, everything shifts. And instead of an exit, we are looking at a recovery. And I find that incredibly powerful because it changes the tone of her storyline from tragedy to resilience. Last week left everyone shaken when she was rushed to the hospital by Veyron, and for a moment it felt like we were about to lose her. But now she is back, she is recovering, and I cannot help but feel hopeful, not just for her survival, but for what her story represents, and I genuinely believe she is going to overcome her breast cancer. There's something deeply moving about the idea that in the middle of all this chaos, all these betrayals and manipulations, there is still a story about strength and healing. And the addition of Jennifer Holliday during the Easter celebration feels like it is going to amplify that emotion even more. I can already imagine Anita standing there, overwhelmed, perhaps reflecting on everything she has been through and realizing that she is not alone. That moment might be one of the few instances of pure sincerity in an otherwise tension-filled week. And I think it will stand out because of that contrast. Then there is the situation between Ted and Chenise, which, in my opinion, is quietly building into something much bigger than it seems on the surface, because a single careless statement from Ted has the potential to shift everything between them. And what makes it even more intriguing is the ambiguity surrounding what he actually said. I have been going back and forth on this, even arguing with a friend about it, and I still stand by my theory that it has something to do with Leslie, because her involvement makes sense in terms of creating conflict. If she approached Ted with a request and he agreed, that could easily lead to tension with Chenise, especially if it is something he chose not to tell her immediately. My friend insists that it is about Nicole, but I just do not see it. Nicole has never really been a source of serious conflict between Ted and Chenise. There is no strong emotional charge there, no unresolved tension that would justify a dramatic reaction, whereas Leslie brings uncertainty, and uncertainty is what drives drama. So I keep picturing that moment, Ted saying something he should not have said, Chenise reacting, confusion turning into suspicion, and suddenly their relationship is no longer as stable as it seemed. And just when it feels like there is already too much happening, the investigation led by Jacob adds another layer of danger. Because unlike the personal conflicts we see elsewhere, this storyline carries real risk, real consequences, and Jacob knows it. Yet he continues. That is what makes his character so compelling. He is fully aware that danger could strike at any moment, and still he pushes forward. And now it seems like he is getting closer than ever to uncovering the truth, particularly regarding Grayson and his connection to Leah, who is secretly running the plasma organization. This revelation could change everything, because once Jacob has that piece of information, it connects multiple threads, and suddenly the hidden structure behind all these events starts to become visible. But with knowledge comes risk. And Grayson is already feeling the pressure. Working under Leah is not just stressful, it is suffocating, especially when she demands more from him, pushing him to infiltrate Derek's new hospital as a volunteer. That plan alone is incredibly risky, because Derek is not someone who can be easily deceived. And Grayson knows it. He even warns Leah about the possibility of being suspected, but she does not care. She sees an opportunity and she takes it, regardless of the consequences for him. And that puts Grayson in an impossible position, because if he follows her orders, he risks exposure. But if he refuses, he risks her wrath. And in situations like this, there is rarely a safe choice. I cannot help but think that this is where Jacob might come back into play for Grayson, not as an enemy, but as a potential way out, because when someone feels cornered, they start looking for unlikely allies. At the same time, Naomi's actions could unintentionally make everything worse, because using Jacob's burner phone, especially under Isaiah's suggestion, feels like a critical mistake. It compromises the very thing that keeps Jacob safe, his anonymity. And what frustrates me the most is that Isaiah does not seem to fully grasp the danger. He is acting out of a desire to please Darlene without considering the consequences, and that kind of recklessness is exactly what can destroy an operation like Jacob's. Elon, on the other hand, understands the stakes, and I can already see his reaction, anger, frustration, and perhaps even a growing resentment towards Isaiah, because when one person's carelessness threatens everything, it is hard to forgive. And then, almost as a contrast to all this intensity, we have the double date arranged by Nicole and Vanessa, which, instead of being a lighthearted moment, looks like it is heading straight into disaster. Joey and Carlton are clearly not compatible. Their personalities clash, their perspectives differ, and rather than finding common ground, they seem to amplify each other's differences, leading to arguments instead of connection. In a way, it feels almost inevitable. When two people represent completely different ways of thinking, conflict is bound to happen, and sometimes no amount of planning can prevent that. So as I look at everything that is about to unfold, I cannot help but feel that this week is going to be one of those turning points where multiple storylines collide, where secrets begin to surface, where relationships are tested, and where not everyone will come out unscathed. Haley is losing control. Tomas is getting closer to the truth. Lynette is tightening her grip. Anita is rising from her lowest point. Ted and Chenise are facing uncertainty. Jacob is stepping deeper into danger. Grayson is being pushed to his limits. And even something as simple as a date is turning into conflict. And the most unsettling part is that all of these threads feel like they are moving towards something bigger, something that has not fully revealed itself yet, but is definitely coming. I will be watching closely, because if there is one thing I am certain of, it is that once the cracks start to show, everything else follows.